Imagine unlocking centuries of history, culture, untold stories. Not just by, carefully poring over ancient manuscripts,
Yeah.
but actually using artificial intelligence.
It's really quite something.
Yeah, today we're diving into how these cutting-edge digital tools are, well, fundamentally transforming historical texts.
It's a fascinating meeting point, isn't it? Where the precision of tech meets the richness of history. Our mission today is to explore this world of digital transcription, specifically for Ottoman Turkish texts.
And we're drawing from a really key source here,
Exactly. A pivotal article, it's called Osmanlıca metinlerin dijital otomatik transkripsiyonu, mevcut durum ve öneriler.
which translates to Digital Automatic Transcription of Ottoman Texts, Current Status and Recommendations.
Precisely. And this piece, it's by Sümeyye Aksa, Yunus Udur, and Murat Azringu.
Right. And published in Osmanlı Araştırmalar, the Journal of Ottoman Studies, that's volume LXV 2025. What's really great is that it pulls directly from a major workshop on this exact topic.
Yeah, it synthesizes the discussions from that event. But maybe before we jump right into the workshop, it might help to quickly touch on digital humanities itself, just for context.
Good idea. So it's basically applying computer tech to humanities research.
In a nutshell, yes. It goes way back, actually, to the 1940s, Roberto Bussa's work on text analysis. But it really took off later.
With more computing power, storage.
Exactly. The late 70s, you start seeing structured electronic text, multimedia archives. Then the 90s, the internet changes everything, hypertext, digital libraries, big collaborations.
So it's all about making cultural heritage, historical stuff more accessible using tech.
That's the core idea. And the article we're looking at really zooms in on a key event embodying this. The Osmanlıca metinlerin dijital transkripsiyonu çalıştay.
The workshop on digital transcription of Ottoman texts.
Yes, organized by the Marmara University Center for Digital Humanities. That was December 20th, 2023.
That was like a crucial meeting. Who was there?
A real mix. Academics, librarians, project managers, all from different fields. The goal was to openly talk about, the progress, the hurdles, and the solutions for making Ottoman texts machine readable.
So a real brainstorming hub.
Absolutely. And the article wraps up all those presentations, those discussions from 5 sessions, adds in existing research, and gives this fantastic overview.
What were the big themes they tackled?
Oh, quite a range. Handwritten text recognition, HTR, that was huge. Also, building digital Ottoman text collections or corpuses, language processing issues, specific projects already running, and technical stuff like image segmentation and resolution.
Okay, let's unpack some of that.
Yeah.
Starting with HTR. Why is handwritten text recognition so vital for these Ottoman texts?
Well, it's the key, really. Turning these handwritten documents into something a computer can read and search. It just opens up access in ways we couldn't imagine before.
Makes information discovery possible on a massive scale.
Exactly. Dr. Sümeyye Aksa, in her opening speech, pointed out how deep learning is making a big difference here. Things like convolutional neural networks, recurrent neural networks, and especially transformer models.
So the AI isn't just guessing letters, it's understanding context, like how words fit together.
Precisely. It considers the sequence, the surrounding characters and words, much like we do when we read. It boosts performance significantly.
And I guess this tech isn't just for old texts.
No, not at all. She mentioned applications everywhere, finance, libraries, you name it. But applying it to Ottoman handwriting, that brings its own unique set of challenges, big ones.
I bet. These aren't exactly typed uniform documents we're talking about. What are the main hurdles?
Okay, first off, text degradation. These documents are old, they fade, ink bleeds, paper deteriorates. Those changes can really confuse algorithms.
Makes sense. What else?
Then there's the sheer variety in handwriting styles. Different scribes, someone's handwriting changing over their life, plus all the distinct script styles,
Yeah.
Nessie, Rika, Talik, Nastalik. It's incredibly diverse.
Wow, so the AI needs to handle all that variation. What about how the text is laid out on the page?
Another big one, nonlinear layouts. Texts often weren't written in neat straight lines. You get notes squeezed into margins, text curving around illustrations. Algorithms expect straight lines, mostly.
And Ottoman calligraphy can be quite artistic, right? Does that cause problems?
Ironically, yes. Aesthetic elements like beautiful decorations or unique flourishes can be misread by the software as text, leading to errors. The artistry becomes a technical glitch.
Huh. And what about training the AI? You need data for that.
Right, and that leads to the data homogeneity problem. Machine learning needs lots of diverse data. If you only train it on, say, one type of script or documents from one specific era, you get overfitting.
Meaning it gets really good at that specific data.
But falls flat when it sees something new or different. You need a wide range of examples.
Okay, and the script itself? Arabic script, right to left.
Yes, the nature of the Arabic script used in Ottoman Turkish adds complexity. The right-to-left flow, plus the diacritical marks, the harek, which indicate vowels and are often omitted in writing, but crucial for meaning. That's another layer the HTR has to grapple with.
It sounds incredibly complex. Are there projects successfully navigating this? You mentioned Transcribathon and Transcribus earlier.
Yeah, definitely. Europeana's Transcribathon, for example, uses crowdsourcing volunteers transcribing manuscripts. That data then helps train systems like Transcribus.
And the National Library of Norway?
They're using Transcribus too, developing their own models for their specific manuscript collections. It shows that, with focus and the right tools, even these difficult historical scripts can be tackled. It takes effort, but it's possible.
Okay, so HTR starts unlocking the text. But the article also stresses building a corpus, a digital collection.
Yeah.
And not just the standard official stuff.
Right. This is really interesting. They talk about incorporating organic, non-standard documents. Think personal notes, recipes, poems, letters, the everyday stuff.
Why is that so important?
Because these seemingly small fragments gain huge significance when you bring them together. They provide context, reveal patterns in daily life, culture, language use that you might miss just looking at official histories. It builds a much richer picture.
And Dr. Erkan Akyol, with the Kishif Journal, is focusing right on these organic texts.
Exactly. Kishif is peer-reviewed and dedicated to publishing these kinds of texts. Dr. Akyol explained their aim is to build this massive database where these scattered bits of info connect and create meaning. They're very rigorous about transcription standards, philologically sound.
And they publish in English.
Yeah, for wider reach. It's a long-term project. They're even thinking about crowdsourcing for tricky bits eventually.
A careful approach. But this brings up another point. Perfect digitization isn't really feasible, is it? Dr. Ahmet Abdullah Sakmala from Lexicomus and BuildLQ made a stark point about errors.
He really did. He shared this anecdote, the Irania versus Abrani example. A historian misread Irania, referring to Iran as Abrani, meaning Hebrew.
Just one letter off?
Just one letter. But it completely changed the interpretation. The document was analyzed in a totally wrong context. Judaism instead of Iran. It just shows how critical accuracy is. A tiny error can rewrite history, basically.
That's a huge responsibility. So how do Lexicamus and BuildLQ try to prevent that?
They have safeguards. First, they always show the original image next to the transcription. You can always check it visually.
Okay, transparency.
And critically, each word needs multiple human approvals before it's finalized in the system. It's like a peer review for every single word.
A human check built in.
Plus, they segment texts, breaking them down, which helps analyze words both individually and in context. It's a bit like Google's Recap TCHA, using human input to verify and improve the system.
And BuildLQ handles spelling variations too, because Ottoman spelling wasn't standardized like modern Turkish.
Exactly. It shows different ways a word might have been spelled historically, like kesup, kesup, kesip, all meaning gut. It acknowledges that linguistic reality.
Let's talk about some specific projects. Osmanlika.com from ASOC, Professor Dr. Atakan Kurt. What's their focus?
Their main goal is translating Ottoman documents into modern Turkish. They use OCR and HTR to make the texts machine understandable.
How are they training their system?
Quite cleverly, actually. They're using existing hand-transcribed academic theses, particularly ones focusing on court records, as training data, so leveraging prior human work.
Smart. How far along are they?
They're building a pretty big data set, 10,000 pages, 250,000 lines so far. The HTR part is still in development, but they're aiming for about a 70% success rate on varied data. It's ambitious, especially with challenges like, paragraphs that aren't perfectly straight. They figure they need at least 1,000 pages of diverse stuff to hit that target.
A tough goal. And then there's IRSICA, the Research Center for Islamic History, Art, and Culture.
They were early players, right?
Very early. Started back in 2016. Neslihan Sandel, their library deputy director, talked about their work. They've had good results with OCR on printed materials, though it's not public yet.
And for handwriting. For handwritten texts, they're getting around 60% accuracy across different script styles. Nasi, Rika, Talik, Nastalik. which is pretty solid given the complexity.
Definitely. What's their overall aim?
Open access is key for them. They want researchers worldwide, even those who don't read Ottoman, to be able to search their databases using both Arabic and Latin characters, really democratizing access.
That's fantastic. But it brings us back to those deep technical problems,
Yeah.
like segmentation, figuring out what's text and what isn't on a complex page.
Right, boludleme. It's a huge challenge, especially with manuscripts where lines curve or interact with illustrations. Professor Dr. Beset Uller Torin mentioned a master's thesis tackling this.
What did it do?
It was by Octavio Ernesto Romo Rodriguez at Istanbul Technical University. They used deep learning specifically to segment text from non-text elements on Journal covers a good test case for complex layouts, teaching the AI to see the structure.
Okay, so separating text from noise. Speaking of noise, what about image quality? Faded ink, low resolution.
Yeah, that drastically affects HTR accuracy. Dr. Hakan Temez from Artvinlar University is working on super resolution.
Super resolution. Sounds like sci-fi. How does it work?
It's pretty cool. They use deep learning training models to understand the relationship between low-res and high-res images. The AI then essentially fills in the missing details, generating a sharper, high-resolution version from a blurry low-res input.
So it enhances the image before it goes to the HTR.
Exactly. Makes it much clearer, much more suitable for transcription. Dr. Timmis showed successful results using this on Ottoman texts from the Wikilala collection.
Amazing. And the persistent problem. Not enough training data, especially for non-Latin scripts like Ottoman. How do researchers get around that?
This is where Dr. Esma F. Bilgin-Postemir's work is vital. She focuses on generating synthetic data and using data augmentation.
Okay, synthetic data is like fake data.
Sort of. It's artificially generated text images that mimic real historical writing. Data augmentation takes existing images and creates variations slightly rotated, different brightness, minor
I
distortions.
believe that.
It dramatically increases the amount and the diversity of training data without needing thousands more real documents. It helps the AI learn the underlying patterns better and become more robust against variations, which is crucial for Ottoman with its diverse scripts and scribe changes. It combats that overfitting problem.
Right, makes the models more adaptable. So given all these techniques, what are the main tools people are using now? And what about the future? Things like large language models.
A major tool is Transcribus. It's an AI platform specifically for historical documents. It's popular because it integrates things like TEI, the Text Encoding Initiative.
What does TEI do?
It lets you add detailed, standardized metadata so you can tag names, places, dates, themes within the text itself. Makes it incredibly powerful for research, for mapping connections.
But you mentioned a specific challenge for Ottoman in Transcribus.
Yes. It's not just recognizing the Ottoman characters, it's finding the correct modern Turkish equivalent. There often isn't a simple one-to-one match because of spelling variations and grammar differences. So one Ottoman word might have several possible transcriptions, and context is key to choosing the right one. Even with Transcribus, perfect Ottoman transcription is still tough.
A linguistic puzzle on top of the visual one.
Yeah.
So where do large language models, LLMs, fit in?
Dr. Müge Akbulut shed light on this. She talked about the transformers architecture, the engine behind most modern LLMs. Their power is understanding words in context.
Which is exactly what's needed for Ottoman ambiguities.
Precisely. LLMs show huge potential for things like classifying text types, summarizing documents, and even improving models by learning from existing, maybe imperfect, OCR data.
Yeah.
They can make sense of noisy input.
Any specific examples?
She mentioned platforms like Hugging Face, where you can test models, and highlighted Google's Gemini model. Because Gemini is inherently multimodal, built to understand text, images, audio, video, it could be revolutionary for historical documents that mix different media.
Wow. The potential seems enormous. So pulling it all together, what were the big takeaways from that workshop? What's the path forward?
The number one takeaway: no silver bullet. There's no single solution for digitizing Ottoman texts. It demands a holistic approach, blending different technologies and, crucially, human expertise.
Not just one project or tool, but an ecosystem.
Exactly. They saw two main paths emerging. Projects building their own complete systems from scratch, like IRCGUS, BuildLQ, OsmanLeica.com, and projects using existing platforms like Transcribus and adapting them.
And the recommendation was?
Collaboration. Strong push for these two approaches to work together. Share data, share findings, avoid reinventing the wheel. They also called for major Turkish scientific institutions to help centralize efforts and support this collaboration. And documenting everything properly is vital.
Makes sense. What about ongoing needs?
Still need more clean, diverse training data using synthetic data to help. Still need better segmentation and super resolution, and definitely need to keep exploring how to integrate LLMs effectively.
And the human element.
Absolutely critical. The workshop stressed the need for synergy between humanities scholars and IT specialists. You need people who genuinely understand both worlds to bridge the gap, define the real needs, and drive meaningful innovation.
People who speak both languages.
You got it. And finally, just keep the conversation going. More workshops, more conferences to maintain that dialogue and collaboration as the field evolves.
So as we've heard, linking these centuries-old Ottoman texts with today's AI, it's not just about preservation. It's about making history dynamic, searchable, uncovering insights maybe lost for generations. It makes you wonder, what new questions might you ask of these archives? Now they're becoming digital.
It really opens up possibilities. And if you are intrigued and want to dive deeper into the current state and future of digital Ottoman studies, we absolutely recommend reading the original article.
Yes, a huge thank you to the authors Sumaya Aksa, Yunus Usur, and Murat Ezringu, and also to all the speakers and participants at the Osmanlıca Metinlerin Digital Transcriptionu Çalıştay for sharing their insights.
And you can find that article easily. It's freely downloadable from the Derji Park website of the Journal of Ottoman Studies. Definitely worth a read.